everybody? Welcome back to Networking with Nathaniel. This is episode 11. I'm excited to have a close, short period of time friend of mine, Nick, here to talk with me today. Nick is a real estate investor and integrator that I met and subbed to just within the past couple months, actually. He's a husband, a father of two. He works a W-2 as well, and he's been integrating people's systems and processes and helping people get and capture more leads in their business. Nick, appreciate you being here, man. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I would like to just start off with like kind of giving a brief introduction about what it is that keeps you busy on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, sure. That's a great question. So I guess first is the kids of a little over a 2-year-old toddler and then a baby that's 5 months old. So there's no rest for the weary. One of the last things we do is put them down. First thing is get them up. So that's definitely what keeps us busy. But other than that, I've been full time in real estate for quite some time. So that definitely keeps me busy.
Yeah, that's amazing. I know we the first time you and I chatted, we did spend a little bit of time talking about the kiddos and how it's mind-blowing. It's mind-boggling, I guess. So what is it that you're kind of working on at the moment? Just like a quick high-level view of what it is you got going on. I know a little bit about it, but
Yeah, absolutely. So, I guess, first I'm a real estate investor, so I'm actively, buying deals, always looking for another sub-two deal. And I've been building up a rental portfolio in Memphis, Tennessee of short-term rentals. So we actually just closed on two 5 units there. They're currently operating Airbnbs. That's actually a mortgage method. So that's
nice.
been keeping us pretty busy. So I think we're gonna get like 55,000 paid back at closing,
Wow.
which is pretty nice. But then when I'm not doing the investing stuff, one thing I've realized that I really enjoy doing is being an integrator for other people. Um, I've also been a full-time real estate agent, I think, for the past 7 years now going on. So I was in the tech industry for a long time, then I transitioned over to real estate full time. I became an agent because I knew I wanted to, buy units. I wanted to buy more properties. I wanted to build up that kind of passive income. And then I realized, hey, I'm spending a lot of time doing this for other people. So I joined Sub Two, I think a little over a year ago, and I was working on doing some wholesaling. I was kind of going down that path, and then pretty quickly I realized I really like being an integrator.
Mm.
It's a lot of fun. So the platform that I'm working on right now, it's Your Integrator, or the website's yourintegrator.io. Um, and it's exciting. Like literally this morning, I was running a test of two different text messages to see which one has a high response rate.
Mm.
So my goal is over time is if I can work with more closers, kind of help generate leads for them, generate conversations with motivated sellers to them, they can go out, close those deals, they can make that. And then as I get more and more people on the platform, I'll be able to bring on more integrators so we can really build out a pretty cool platform for everybody.
Mm. I love that. There's a couple things I want to touch on here. First, I'll do my best to remember to
Clear?
link that yourintegrator.io in the description of this video. So if anybody out there is watching and wants to check it out, check the link in the description, hopefully. If I forget, it's yourintegrator.io. How are you generating leads for other investors?
Yeah, so we have a couple different ways. We're mainly using texting platforms. So we're normally pulling it either from county records. That's one of the more difficult ways, but one of the best ways to do it, or we'll use it from one of the big list aggregators like PropStream or PropWire.
Okay.
So we'll pull a list from somewhere, whether it's the county records or one of those places. Then we'll go and skip trace it. We put it in the CRM, and then we'll run a campaign workflow against that to actively, send out the text messages. And then from there, then we'll hand it over to either a VA or the closer. and they kind of manage the conversation from there.
Okay. And this is like all in-house, basically. You're doing everything from pulling the list to getting a lead into somebody else's system.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And what I found is there's a lot of closers and a lot of people in sub two that they either don't have an integrator, or they've had issues with partnerships, or maybe they just haven't found that right partnership yet. And finding a partner, figuring that out can be really challenging. So for us to just kind of do it for them, I think it's a really good solution. And not only that, we've actually had more and more integrators come to us lately because they have a number of different things that they're working on, and then to kind of bolt on the texting and learn that entire aspect of it takes a lot of time.
Mm.
And if you're actively closing deals, you're actively buying properties, you probably don't have a large amount of time to kind of figure this stuff out. So they can just bolt into our system. We can get them up and running in a couple of days instead of weeks or months.
Okay. Yeah, I love that. What as far as like the texting, it sounds like texting is what you're doing. There's not cold calling, there's not mailers. Is that true?
So I've partnered with a VA agency.
Okay.
So there's different bolt-ons for it. So they can respond to the text messages if you want. They can do cold calling if you want. We're doing some SEO also.
Okay.
SEO does pretty good. We
Mhm.
can even bolt on PPC. PPC, it's a really great way to get high quality leads, but it's expensive.
Yeah.
$200 to $300 a lead in most major markets. So if you don't have everything dialed in, you can blow through a lot of budget
Yeah.
really fast.
I personally experienced that
Yeah.
years
Yeah.
ago before I had any idea that I should be getting on top of these leads and having conversations with them. Yeah. What
Yeah.
I found with the PPC is if you're not on the phone,
Yeah.
like what once they've filled that form in, then you're missing out because they're on to the next form. But
It,
yeah, they do
exactly.
typically those people like you're saying are much more high intent to sell. Like they're on Google looking for somebody to buy their house. Um,
Yeah. And yeah, I forget the exact statistic, but it's something with the PPC leads. They call it speed to lead,
mm,
where I think it's the first like 30 seconds or the first minute.
yeah,
If you can get them on the phone in a very, very short period of time, then the odds of you actually being able to close them is pretty high. But literally, like as minutes go by, your closing rate just goes lower and lower and lower. So if you're gonna do PPC, you have to have a really robust system where you get on top of them immediately.
yeah. And it sounds like your I think you call them bolt-ons, is something that
Correct.
can help out with that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So you've got like what would a flat, I don't want any additional services. What does that look like from you?
You mean like cost wise or
No, like it sounds like you're gonna pull a list, like what kind of what quantity of list are we pulling? Are we talking 10,000, 20,000, or is it 100?
yeah, so I think the big thing for us is we wanna support, your type of business and what you want to do.
Hmm.
So it's really kind of business dependent. If somebody just wants to do foreclosures and upcoming auctions, there's a very finite number of properties that are coming. If they
Okay.
just want to do, cash and general wholesale deals, then we can get, a pretty huge amount. Versus if they just want to get low equity, then that's a pretty small list. Also, I was looking at a list. It was in like the near like Long Beach, California, like
Okay.
that, in like the general area. I pulled all I think is like the expireds for the past year. I cross-referenced their last list price against the amount of estimated equity that they have on there.
Okay.
And for the last year, there was six low equity properties.
Wow.
Six.
Yeah.
So, if you're going to be targeting low equity, you normally have to be doing multiple markets if you really want to kind of build out that volume.
Yeah. There's just not as much to go off of.
Uh, yeah, exactly.
Excuse me, I know I mentioned it to you before we started. I am ill right now. So by the time this video releases, I hopefully I'm not ill anymore. But yeah. So you're pulling the list, tailored to whatever my specific
Mhm.
desires inside of my business are. You are going to skip trace the list. The skip tracing is an additional cost to your services, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, correct.
I'm bearing the cost of that, be it 4 cents or 12 cents or whatever your service is. Um, and then from there, you're taking that data, you're putting it into your texting platform, which is
We're on the high level
okay.
platform,
Okay.
so that's one of the most common ones out there, and
Yeah.
it's a fantastic platform for automations,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So we can really automate a lot of stuff for people.
Yeah. That's what I've found as well is like we were using oh, I got a sneeze coming on. Come on, baby. We were using launch control, and we did
Mhm.
like launch control a lot. But just the automations inside of Go High Level are just you can do whatever the heck you want to do, and being able to split test and do things like you're doing,
Yeah.
it's pretty incredible. Okay, so we're coming into the texting now. You've built out now. This is still within the realm of just your covered services, correct?
Yeah,
All
correct.
the automations, that's all coming with your system.
Yeah.
If I wanted to now have somebody else take care of any responses, that's a now bolt on.
hmm
Okay.
yeah. So we
Okay.
can have VAs. They can do the lead management. They can help close. We even have ones that can help the dispo,
Okay.
the dispo on it. So
Yeah.
as you're building out your business, as you're scaling up, let's say that somebody they start, they don't have any deal flow, they need to be hands on, they should be more involved in the business.
Hmm.
But let's say that you have 2 to 3 deals in escrow, all of a sudden you start getting real busy, you're busy dispoing the deals. That's why it's good to have the VAs responding to the messages on a daily basis, working the leads, finding the 4 pillars, going through and making sure that they're motivated. And then as your business grows, as you have more income, we have all the, or at least the VA agency, they have all the different kind of parts that you can bolt on to your business to help you grow over time.
Yeah. I love that you're saying, when you're just starting out, maybe it makes more sense for you to be in the weeds of it. At
Mhm.
least if you have the time to be doing so. If you're working
Yeah.
a W-2 or you got a lot of other stuff going on, then man, hire these people out to help take these things off your plate and really get, like you're saying, the 4 pillars,
Mhm.
price, motivation, timeline, and condition. It's because they're knocking out, a large part of the conversation for you, and then you can come in and close the deal. I mean, I'm assuming, maybe I shouldn't assume, what they say about that, but the VAs that you have are probably capable of closing some of these leads themselves, huh?
Yeah, they definitely are. We've definitely had the VAs close. Like we had one. Um, oh, I'm forgetting the market. It was in North Carolina. It was
Okay.
a great deal. We had like a $20,000 spread on it, that we had a VA close.
Wow.
So they definitely can, but at the end of the day, my recommendation is always, if you're the business owner, if you're paying, you should be actively involved
Right.
in it in order to get the best results.
Yeah. Especially early on, you don't, at least for me, I had to kind of understand all the processes and understand the conversations and how people are responding to certain things. And I'm seeing that firsthand. Then have the confidence to be able to go, all right, here's how we do things here in our business.
Mhm.
And you're handing it over to a VA, a virtual assistant,
Yeah.
that's able to do a lot of the different stuff for you. And now they're taking all those, lower level
Yeah.
tasks off your plate so you can focus on the big, the higher ones that are the bigger ticket items. Um,
Yeah, exactly. And I think with kind of what you were saying, if somebody's newer to the business, or I wouldn't, to be frank, I wouldn't recommend for them to come to us just because, we have everything pretty, automated and systematized. If they're relatively new to the business, go out, pull a list, make text messages yourself, make those calls, get a couple of deals under your belt. Because once you start spending money on marketing, on texting, on skip tracing on a regular basis, the costs really add up. And if you're not actively closing deals, you can burn through your your marketing budget very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely need to have set aside when somebody's coming to work with you, what do you typically recommend as far as like time frame goes, like expectations wise to kind of getting
Yeah,
your first deal? Yeah. I mean, you obviously don't, and nobody out there hold Nick to this, but
yeah.
um
Yeah, so I guess if they haven't, gotten their first deal, my recommendation would be to, go out there and JV and partner with people,
mm,
first. That's definitely the best thing. But if they're gonna plug into our system, it normally takes 3 to 4 months to really kind of fill up that pipeline. But it really depends on the type of leads that you're doing. I mean, we have somebody he started um it was definitely under 3 months ago. I think he already has like 3 deals in escrow.
wow.
I mean, he's killing it. Like we're just going over some of the leads that he was pulling in. I mean, his pipeline was really full. He's doing a fantastic job. I'm trying to remember what market he's in. But we normally say it takes kind of 3 to 4 months to fill up the pipeline, but you can definitely start closing deals after the first month or two.
Yeah. That's what that's seems like kind of the trend from I've tried a lot of different marketing channels
Mm-hmm.
over my, hand 5 years at this point. 3 to 6 months is kind of
Yeah,
the sweet spot. Of course, like you're saying, it's possible that the very first lead that you get is
yeah,
going to be a home run, but don't count on it.
yeah,
So it sounds like, you know, somebody's coming to work with you. You want to have probably that 3 to 6 months budget set aside, to make sure that you can fill that pipeline,
hmm
because the worst thing that you could do is come and try something for 2 months and give
yeah,
up. Because now all you've done is you've turned the water on, and right
yep,
before the water's getting to the spout, you're going, ah, shoot, it's turning it off. I've seen a lot of people do that, unfortunately, but you just got to stick
yeah,
with it and know that this isn't a get rich quick scheme. Um, there's nothing quick about it. Like I said, sometimes you can, but most of the time it's at 3 to 6 months. I do have a couple, like not off topic, but less
yeah, sure.
specific topic questions. Is there anything, Nick, that you wanted to add to this before we jump a little off track?
I guess I'm looking to buy in Tennessee and Florida. So if anybody has deals, let me know. Also looking to network. So if people are looking to network and connect, um, just let me know. I'm open.
I'd usually do this at the end, but since we're here, what's the best way to connect with you?
Oh yeah, good question. I guess probably my email, Nick at WeSellHousesLA.com.
Hmm.
That's my main email. So it's probably the best way to connect with me.
Okay. No Facebook, Instagram, anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Facebook. Yeah, I can definitely reach out to me on there. But email is probably the best way.
Okay, number one. And I'll put these in the description here so you can just click on them if anybody's out there wants to just reach out. But that was Nick at WeSellHousesLA.com. LA
Yeah,
like Los Angeles or the abbreviation for Louisiana.
I
Um,
like Los Angeles.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I have a couple questions I have here is do you have any like books, podcasts, documentaries, anything like that, either that helped you get into business, helped you realize that you wanted to be an entrepreneur, or even just like something that's interesting to you?
Ooh, that's a really good question. So Rich Dad Poor Dad, that was the book that first got me into real estate. That was in like 2015, and ever since I read that, I've been obsessed with it. Ever since. Um, Then after that, I probably really got into the Bigger Pockets podcasts.
Okay.
I think I listened to the first 500
Wow.
before I stopped
Wow.
dipping down. But I mean, that's over 7 years.
Yeah.
So it's been a long time. Pace Morby has some absolutely phenomenal content out there. I really feel like him in creative finance is definitely some of the best stuff
Hmm.
out there right now. I mean with I literally had a client today. I'm representing them as the agent to buy a house. They have good credit, a great job. Their interest rate on a 30-year fixed was 8.1%. I mean, that's brutal. Like 2, 3 years ago, that'd be a hard money loan.
Yeah.
Now
Yeah.
it's for somebody with great credit.
Yeah.
Um, so if you can take over somebody else's loan at, like 2 and 3%, or like, yeah, I bought two sub 2 hybrids in Memphis. They
Hmm.
both have, interest rates under 4%, which is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
So yeah, big fan of Pace Morby.
Yeah. I agree. Like not just for the real estate side of things, but just for what the community as a whole has done in
Yeah,
here for me. It's just amazing. Like I live a life of abundance for me at least now, and my family. I just feel like, there's always something around the corner to be had and to work on, and yeah, just grateful for everything. We did talk about this one before. What's If you could choose one, like what's the biggest life lesson that you've learned and how did you learn it? Uh-oh.
so yeah, 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 really good question. I think this actually kind of is something I learned from my dad, where when we were growing up, he was like an executive. He worked for the electric industry, and some years he would spend 50 weeks out of the year traveling.
Mm.
And I mean that, for a couple young kids, that's really hard. It's hard on my mom. It was hard on the whole family. And when I was in my teens, probably 14 or 15, he basically decided to retire early, and really kind of, or I should say, pivot. He retired early. He, kind of started working some businesses out of his office. And he mainly did that because he just wanted more time and freedom and to be there, for the kids. So that, I think that really had a really powerful impact on me. That's why when I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, I was like, I want to go down the same path. I want to have flexibility. I want to be able to make my own schedule. I want to become, financially independent so I can do what I want. So that's why I've been working, 70, 80 hours a week to try to get that.
It's funny. Like we leave the 40-hour a week job
Yeah.
because we want to have more time, and then we end up working 60, 70, 80 hours a week on our own. And especially being a parent of two kids under, 3 years old,
Yeah.
that is its own, can of worms, so to speak. Well, I appreciate you, man. I look forward. We're going to do some stuff in the future for sure. I hope that anybody out there that's looking to offload some of the integrator side stuff and offload some of the headache that lead generation can bring, especially for people like me I just want to be on the phone talking to people that want to
Yeah.
sell their house. I don't want to be pulling data and skip tracing data and scrubbing through the lists. And like you're talking split testing, which
Yeah.
text is going to get the better response? Like, should I put which or that? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy, but those things make a difference, and it's people like you that are figuring that out. So I appreciate you coming on and talking to me about this today, man. Any parting thoughts for any budding integrators or budding, entrepreneur real estate investors out there?
Listen to this podcast, watch these videos, learn from other people. There's a lot of people that are doing out there that have been doing it for a while that have been successful.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, network with them, connect with them, learn what people have done before you and learn from their mistakes.
Yep. I love it, man. Well, I appreciate having you on here.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I appreciate it.